This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Grandchildren, what are you watching in the television? It's too early. Come here and take a seat, and I will tell you a story about the abandonment of assimilation.
Rizal and the education of his people. In his essay, introducing the new orthography to the Filipinos, Rizal mentions that they have been stimulated to do something about the old orthography while making studies of the pedagogical method used in the school of Saxony during his stay in Germany in 1886 to 1887. Education is the key to understanding much of Rizal's career, for his whole career was bound up with education, his own education and the education of his people. Fired by the resolve to improve himself at every opportunity, learning one new language after another, he urged Del Pilar to learn French or English on his arrival in Spain, because the language opens to you the treasures of a country, that is the knowledge, the science stored up in the language. Each country he visited, he felt had something to offer from which he might learn to help bring progress to the Filipinos. Curiously enough, one of the Pardo de Taveras' own medical pamphlets, translated into Tagalog in 1895, still uses the old system. This is an indication of the difference between the latter's advocacy of the changes, based on purely philological grounds, and results. Based more on nationalist grounds, Pardo has published an article on the subject in the Manila newspaper in 1880. Education for the Future. Even as a young student in 1883, he lamented to his family that so few Filipinos were studying various crafts and industries, such as the manufacture of paper, of glass, of porcelain, of textile, etc., rather than concentrate on law and medicine, as almost all do. They should imitate the Japanese and turn to industry, engineering, and agriculture.
In May 1890, Paciano wrote to his brother on hearing that Nozalita, the new Dominican Archbishop of Manila, had indirectly proposed to Del Pilar a formula of accommodation to resolve the struggle of the Filipino group in Europe against the friars. Tenants evicted by court order returned to their lands, and when efforts were made to turn over the lands of the dispossessed to others, no one would take them, and they were left uncultivated. In May 1890, Paciano wrote to his brother on hearing that Nosalida, the new Dominican Archbishop of Manila, had indirectly proposed to the new 1890, saw the high point of the propaganda movement. Del Pilar, as sole editor, has set up La Solidaridad in Madrid. The paper was doing itself proud with regular articles by Del Pilar, Rizal Blumentritt, Antonio Luna, Dominador Gomez, and Mariano Ponce. The Del Pilar and Rizal pamphlets of 1888 to 1889 were circulating relatively that Del Pilar was earnest in his desire to have Rizal's collaboration. Despite his somewhat patronizing judgment of Rizal, is clear from the series of letters he wrote Rizal during the latter's last month in Europe. He was correct in realizing his need of Rizal's collaboration, as events were soon to show in a way he did not perhaps anticipate. But Rizal's course was already charted, and over a different route, for his new novel was now to disclose the directions his thoughts and aspirations had taken since the publication of the Noli Me Tangere. Pasiano's letter makes clear that the Rizals believed in the justice of the claim and did not praise it merely as a weapon against the friars. However, the passage quoted also makes it clear that he at least was not unwilling to use the claim as a weapon. Having obtained the promise of Mariano Cunanan, one of his Filipino companions from Madrid, to put up the necessary capital for the school, Rizal drew up the plan of studies, disciplinary regulations, etc. Though circumstances did not favor his proceeding with the Hong Kong project, he never abandoned the urge to teach. During his exile in Dapitan, he first worked with his old Jesuit professor, Father Francisco Sanchez, to supplement the education of the local children with special classes on Sundays, and later opened a school of his own. Success attended his efforts in this small provincial town in Mindanao, but later events forced him to give it all up. Though Rizal did not reject political means in the struggle for his people's freedom, he assented to such measures with a certain reluctance, as if he were putting up with a necessary evil. Del Pilar, on the other hand, while applauding all that could lead to the proper recognition of Filipino capacity and interested in raising the level of the people's education, generally had a pragmatic eye on the political use to be made of this knowledge and firmly believed in political propaganda and political negotiations as the means of winning liberty.
Education for the future. Even as a young student in 1883, he lamented to his family that so few Filipinos were studying various crafts and industries such as the manufacture of paper, of glass, of porcelain, of textile, etc., rather than concentrate on law and medicine, as almost all do. They should imitate the Japanese and turn to industry, engineering, and agriculture.